Okay, so this is Angie of Angela's Caches, connecting with Professor George Lees that I followed on and off for years. Unfortunately, he's having technical issues and we're not Zoom connecting where we can share screen and he can share documents and so on. But I have at least asked him to give us an audio recording for half an hour or something. And maybe we'll work the Zoom thing out. Maybe George can work the Zoom thing out on his end, because his information seems valuable enough that somebody somewhere needs to step up and show him how to make his technology work so that at least he can share documents. All right, go ahead, George.
So I see it completely differently. I use the facts to tell the story, not the images. But I do agree that the images are important. But that's why I always use my in cameras, because I've got that in my collection, and I cannot get sued if I just keep it in my house.
Yeah. It's good to have.
This has been published several times. I've got a website, and the whole of Mr. Bean's story, he was the agent for Gallipoli, where thousands of people died in their own shit in the trenches. And that is the joke at the London Olympics, that Mr. Bean was playing the organ in the massive stadium that was bigger than Wembley for the London Olympics. And he was, Mr. Bean, Charles Bean, was the Governor General for Australia, laughing at his war dead in the trenches. He was completely safe. And that is Mr. Bean is now a character in the comedies. You must know him. That is the actor that is.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with him, and I'm very familiar with Cambridge University and the Cambridge footlights, or whatever they were called. They tried to recruit me to go to Cambridge, and I actually did the entrance exam, went for an interview, and managed to fuck it up, which was probably a good escape. But it was a bed of finding spies, and Cambridge footlights with John Cleese and all those programs that we used to love so much. But they were all propaganda. So I'm hearing you. I am hearing you.
Yeah. Well, John Cleese is an enemy of mine. He's been involved in have you heard of the Bank of International Settlements?
No, I used to work for BCCI, and I used to see John Cleese over the road in a wine bar quite regularly having lunch.
Yeah.
But I have heard of the bank. I've heard of the Bank of International Settlements, but tell me more.
So he's I've been twice. They've tried to stick me in asylums for exposing what is happening at the Bank of International Settlements.
Okay.
Prince Charles and Camilla are massive directors there, and they've still got the war loot of 1945 in the building. And because it is a metal building, it looks like a Dalek. It looks like a dustbin with the lid on, and it's got a silver surface, and that is the Bank of International Settlements.
And where is it located? Where is it located, George? Is it Switzerland?
In Basel, in Switzerland.
Yeah, Basel, Switzerland. Yeah.
That's why when they were giving me the mental health treatment, Dr. Basil Switzer signed the. It's not really subtle, and they know that I've overcome it. And Mr. Bean is the war correspondent for Gallipoli, where the massacres happened, and it was. I can't mind what the death toll was in the end, but that is the comedians that are in the whole of the joke, right up to the London Olympics. Mr. Bean was playing the organ with his finger and pretending that he was just bored as tears, because he is the cover for Charles Bean that was the GG for Australia, laughing at his own war dead.
Yeah.
And that is when I first published the whole story, they appointed a woman to be the Governor General, and she's within 8 or 9 weeks, she had to drop it because of the flack she was getting.
Okay.
And that is the Governor General is very, very rarely a female in any of the countries.
Yeah, that's very rare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they are marching out, a lot of females, and a lot of them are transgender that we have not noticed for like 30 years. There are leaders all over Europe that are the opposite sex of what they seem to be, and nobody noticed. Like, we just weren't awake. We just weren't awake to that, you know. I'm related to both Camilla and Princess Diana very, very distantly in my power side of.
Well, that's why I was getting in touch so that we could talk about Walt Disney. And, you know, the stories about him being related to Adolf, like the Rothschilds were, and all of it was not an accident in the bedroom. All of it has been designed to make them a master race.
Yeah. And the 13 bloodline families. But the truth is, and I told you this briefly before we started recording. Oh, am I recording? I don't think I started recording. Oh, I am. It's okay. The truth is,
I am. Can you keep a copy?
Yeah, of course I will. Yeah, I'll send you a copy. But like I told you before we started recording, my own family was a lost bloodline, which is Le Poer, P-O-E-R, Le Poer. And I've got a whole book on my blog about that. Frances Power did genealogy, and she won awards that knocked academics out, and she got so much attack for having done such superb research. And she was a nobody. She was just a housewife who applied herself to studying the Power genealogy, and she had breakthroughs that nobody had had previously. So she gave me the rights to her book. She just said, look, I found out what I wanted to find out. If you want to publish, go ahead. But I've just been so attacked and brutalized. It's like a jungle out there. But one of the things she established was our blood connection on the Le Poer side to Gwen Stefani, Madonna, Camilla, Princess Diana, the architect of Salisbury Cathedral. She did amazing work. But on the Disney side, the Disneys that I was engineered into a marriage with, I think for breeding purposes, were the half that stayed in the UK, in Norton Disney, north of London. It was.
Which generation of your family did Disney come into?
I married a Disney in 1993.
All right. In which country?
In the UK, in Suffolk.
All right.
And then I had 2 children.
Because I remember we used to stop on our holidays and things because the kids had learned that Disney had an entertainment zone, even on the middle of the M6 on the way down to the London. I remember stopping, and the kids loved it.
Is that where Princess Diana was photographed with her 2 sons, Thorn and Magna, or something like that? I think I know where you mean. I think there's a famous photograph of Princess Diana with William and Harriet.
It's up at the same sort of places.
Thorpe Park, I think it's called. But
I think it's near the place where John of Gaunt lived when he had his empire based in the north of England. Have you heard of him?
I've heard of him, but I don't know. I'm not on a par with your history.
So
but I just wanted to be clear.
Dynasty.
I just wanted to be clear that the Walt Disney side of my ex-husband's family is the different half of the clan. The clan came from France. The name was Dissigny, and it got shortened to Disney. And half of them stayed in the UK in a village called Norton Disney. And the other half came to Ireland and then went to America. So that's the half that spawned the Walt Disney empire. So
the big castle for the Plantagenets is in a place called Preston. And that, have you heard of Piso?
No, how do you, Piso, Piso in Italy?
Yeah, that's the naming of the police all over the world. And that is the man that faked up the Bible. He did not write it in the Holy Lands. He wrote it under Vesuvius, and that is why their home was buried with lava.
See, this is why I used to follow you for years and years ago. I started following you, even when you were under incredible persecution and your marriage was breaking up and you were under threat of like losing your home and your kids and getting sectioned.
I'm now homeless, and thanks to you, you've given me insight into how the technology works at the higher level now. But
one of the reasons I stopped following, I'll be honest.
Charge of the case. So her name is Quentin Bryce.
Okay.
She's one of the few governor generals that has been the female gender. And as soon as I started to talk about the stories, and Mr. Bean, the comedian, went to the London Olympics, all hell broke loose in England, and all the photos were taken off my websites, and they've never been put back on. That is Charles Bean laughing at the war dead at the London Olympics.
Gallipoli, yeah, Gallipoli. And the other scandal.
Sorry, that was the London Olympics
Yeah.
was Charles Bean.
And I want to tell you, George, I think we might do this a couple of times, and hopefully next time you'll get Zoom installed. But the other thing I wanted to tell you was there was another scandal with the London Olympics. There's a kind of shady character who's had 4 name incarnations. He was allegedly originally a street urchin in Brazil that was trafficked to...
Well, that's like a male prostitute.
Yeah, well, a street urchin, little 6-year-old boy running around being sodomized for food. And he was lifted by somebody who gave him to an English couple, a very middle-class English couple, who then fed him into the entertainment industry. So he started off his life as Pablo at 6, and then he's brought to England to a very upper middle-class family. And then he has an identity called Lee Hazeldine. And then he's fed into Sylvia something or other's School of Dramatic Arts, which used to feed and traffic children into the BBC. So then he was on the bill, and he was on Grange Hill, and he was like around the, acting scene. He was a child actor. And Ben Fellows he went by, and he took a famous court case against Kenneth Clark, saying that Kenneth groped him when he was doing an undercover sting with Robin Cook.
In the cabinet in London.
Yeah, Ken Clark, yeah. But the point is, I wanted
to go on holiday to Sutherland, and he had a mansion up there, and he had death threats for the folk that were prepared to park their car.
But the point I'm trying to make to you, George, is that Ben Fellows or Lee Hazeldine, now he's got a new identity, Zed Phoenix. I think he keeps getting paid off by the elite because he knows too much. But he went and worked for G4S at the London Olympics, and he uncovered absolute chaos, and he did a blog about it. And when they all
got the profits from it. Even Lord Condon, the head of police, I've got the whole list of the people, and it's the only time that I've caught the Earl of Home, who lives just down the road from here, out because he was on the board as a director. Like Princess Anne, there was a whole list of celebrities. David Beckham was one.
Yeah. Well, let me just finish. This little boy actor who started off as a street urchin in Brazil, but was totally MK Ultra, he wiped 53 million off the share price of G4S because he exposed how incapable they were of running the London Olympics security. And you remember the army had to be called in. It was all a big scandal at the last minute.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
I was actually working in London around that time. I worked at St Mary's Hospital where the Queen has her babies.
Wow. Yeah,
that's a really interesting topic, but we've not got time for it today.
Well, anyway, look, I just wanted to fill you in that he wiped off 53 million of the share price of G4S because he blew the whistle as an undercover. I mean, he went there between acting jobs just to do security. And when he saw what an absolute shit show it was, he wrote a blog or he made videos about it. And it nearly cost him his life. He had to flee England for a while.
So do you get the concept? Charles Bean is the comedian that is played by Rowan Williams.
Rowan Atkinson. Do you mean Rowan Atkinson? Do you mean Rowan Atkinson?
Atkinson.
Yeah, Rowan Atkinson.
And that is them laughing at the war dead in every comedy that they make.
Yeah.
And some of them were actually got a little bit historical. And the last one I saw was they had actually profiled the conquering of the whole of the Italian peninsula.
Okay.
And then you heard very little of them after that. But that was the London Olympics. He was on the organ, just pressing the buttons and just looking as if he was deadly bored. But the whole thing is based on Mr. Bean was in Gallipoli, and that was a massive massacre.
Yeah.
And do you understand the concept that Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister here, he's the relative of 4 generations of Ataturks. That is the Turkish armies that were helping with the massacres and being massacred because it was just a bloodbath to get rid of the ordinary hungry eaters.
Useless eaters, yeah. I have followed your work off and on, and I know Boris Johnson is de Pfaffel something or other. I know there's he's a very, it's like the whole Bullingdon Club, you know, with Tony Blair, Miranda.
Yeah, they can get away with murder, literally.
Literally.
And they threaten everybody else with making them pay for the photos that are, it costs hundreds of thousands of pounds if you get one of their photos, even for their drunken binges in London.
Yeah. And you know, Tony Blair was done twice at least at Marylebone Court for cottaging in public toilets.
Let me just tell you about Quentin Bryce. So as soon as I revealed this, they started to cover it up. And she was in office for a very, very brief period of time. And she immediately came across to England because she realized that they were going to host the London Olympics that year. And she got all of the pictures that I'd placed on my website off it. And nobody corresponded on that. They just do what they like. And that is, it's a Google website. And I should not really say that because they'll probably take it off tonight.
Well, don't say it then. Let's protect your. So what I want you to do, and like I said, you know, you tried to contact me this morning, and it's been a challenge just to get out in the office today. But what I want you to do, and I can help you if you can't find anybody else to help, but I want you to be able to download Zoom. It's a free app. It's very simple. And as soon as you've downloaded the free app of Zoom, when I send you a link, you can click on it, and then I can give you the ability to share anything you want to share from your end of the screen.
Yeah, I've been doing that with Andy Devine for nearly a year, and I'm the man that got Cressida Dick to resign from the police.
Yeah, there was so much scandal. The scandal.
Well, she went to the Dragon School, which is an absolute fascist place. And that is where Bertie Wooster was the lead fascist, and that is just part of their comedy. But he is actually an absolute Nazi, and that is the school in Oxford.
Yeah.
Is I forget what the name of the school is, but it was Bertie Wooster's place of
Oriel College. Was it Oriel?
No, it's
doesn't matter.
The Dragon School.
Okay.
And that is their message is that Jesus never lived. And I noticed that you're pushing that story in the other direction.
Yeah, and that's why I stopped following your work. I'm being honest with you now. I am a believer. I believe in Jesus. I experientially believe. I theologically believe. I've studied the Bible for 40 years or something. 40, like since 1990, probably, you could say. So 2000, 30 plus years. Anyway, so I am a believer. And so there's limited ground we can meet on with regard to that, because I'm not budging on that. I don't.
Well, I don't talk a lot about it, but I now believe that there are gods in the heavens like Hera and Zeus. And I didn't
They were just mighty men. Hera and Zeus.
It was all written underneath Vesuvius.
Right. Those demigods or mighty men of renown were Nephilim. They were just the offspring of fallen angels that mated with women, according to Genesis 6. So I don't want to.
I believe that is the elf concept, and that gets aired, and nobody can understand why the man is sitting talking in a sophisticated way to the camera with his little elf gear on. But that is the Guelph and Ghibelline families.
I think the thing you're onto about Rowan Atkinson and Boris Johnson and different people, Bullingdon, Cambridge Footsteps, Dramatic Arts Club, it was infiltrated by Germans post-World War II, and they taught the British how to compromat, K-O-M-P.
They're still doing it. Have you heard of Nix and Bannon?
No. Bannon.
So they're employees for Nick Clegg.
Of Facebook. Yeah, Facebook. Yeah,
and all of it is helping the presidents to get elected. But what they do is they take people's opinions and they fake them up as if the people were actually writing that. And that is Nix and Bannon.
Yeah.
And they still work for a company that is named after Cambridge University.
Cambridge Analytica.
Cambridge and Oxford.
Cambridge Analytica.
Performing in the wars.
Cambridge Analytica. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I had a Facebook page with 5,000 friends, 2,000 followers, millions of engagements, loads of elites on it, loads of Freemasons, loads of Rothschilds, loads of Romanovs on my page, and Cambridge Analytica data grabbed my whole page, and I got a notification. They took the whole thing. They grabbed, they scraped my data.
Well, they wouldn't publish it.
They scraped my data, and Facebook sent me a notification, and they said, "We're very sorry to tell you your data has been compromised by a breach by Cambridge Analytica, and we are addressing this issue." So
they're doing that with the whole populace that now write to Facebook.
This was about 5 years ago.
The letters they're receiving are from people that are actually written them.
Well, I made a video about it, and it's the only video I ever made that got instantly banned worldwide.
Well, if you look up Bannon and Nix is easy to spell. It's N-I-X.
Okay.
And they are the propagandists that are getting a massive bung from the likes of Nick Clegg, who was the Deputy Prime Minister for David Cameron.
And Nick Clegg used to work with Leon Britton. He was one of Leon Britton's apprentices. He started off working in Leon Britton's office.
Bannon is funded by Trump, who I thought was in his last regime as president in America. Sorry, he's not the president anymore, but I thought he'd been president twice, and that was the limit in America, but they changed it again, apparently.
No, he's only been once. He's only been once, and he can run again unless they prove that he never lost in 2020. But that there was something I wanted to say to you about Nick Clegg. I know what I wanted to say. I read that Cambridge Analytica can select a jury based on their data scraping. So where they analyze people, everything people like or comment on or view online, they can analyze, and then they can say to a court case, here's 100 potential jurors that will vote the way you want them to. they will give you the verdict you want. We have analysed their social media activity, and we can guarantee you that they will vote the way you want them to. It's shocking. Yeah. It's shocking.
Well, I was quite stunned when I saw that Cambridge and Oxford are doing that, because they're immune from bombing during all the wars we've had so far, and their equivalents in Germany are Heidelberg and Göttingen.
I've been to Heidelberg. I stayed in a youth hostel there, and I've been to Würzburg. I was born in Germany. I've travelled quite a bit around Germany, but Heidelberg. What was the other place you said?
Heidelberg and Göttingen.
Göttingen. That I'm not familiar with.
It's God in heaven or something like that. And oh no, that's Himmelhemstedt. God in Himmel.
Oh my God in Himmel.
But yeah, it's totally crooked, and I never believed that it could get worse than when Tony Blair and us were, that everybody was being brutalized for the oil. But I believe it is worse now.
Yeah, because what I want to ask you, even though history is very valuable, and Gallipoli was a scandal, and JFK is a scandal, and 9/11 is a scandal, and all that, but I want to ask, I want to make it current, George. Tell me we'll wind this up until we get Zoom going, but just tell me, what are your thoughts on the current NATO-Russia proxy war in Ukraine?
It's just a fascist new world order trying to get rich quick.
Yeah.
And Rupert Murdoch actually tried he bought the Beverly Hillbillies mansion in Hollywood and passed it on to his son. I reported all of that, and they sold it again 6 weeks later, because the world was beginning to see exactly how the world's decisions are made by the world's richest.
Yeah. And
that is the Beverly Hillbillies mansion.
What do you mean by the Beverly Hillbillies mansion? I stayed in Santa Monica and Hollywood, and
I thought it was in the outskirts of Hollywood.
I'm not familiar with the Beverly Hillbillies mansion. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Beverly Hillbillies was a comedy on Friday and Saturday nights in Britain. I reckon if you got it in your countries.
Maybe not. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, but so Rupert Murdoch's son is called Lackland. And have you heard that before?
No.
That is the name of the heroes in Robin Hood.
Right. Right.
Sorry, the baddie in Robin Hood, that is the Lackland was King John the First.
Yeah, you're very you do a real thorough tracing of movies.
Well, it's because I've got a scientific background, and because I'm not really political anymore, it's wasted much of my time. But the whole of the political system here, have you heard of the terror that happened in London? That was the Woolwich terror.
Yeah.
So that happened because I was at Woolwich University with Commoner Kate's family, trying to get my PhD from Professor David Beadle, and the families that are now run under the name Commoner Kate is Middleton.
They're goldsmiths, aren't they? They're goldsmiths.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. How did you get that?
I follow a lot of the truth that you follow. I know a lot of this stuff. Yeah.
So that is Goldsmith is a massive name in finance all over the world.
Yeah. They're bankers. They're bankers.
Even Gary Oldman, my favorite actors, that is a massive Nazi financial dynasty in Germany. And that is him in Air Force One with his gun to the president's head. And it's all just I didn't realize that they are actually a dynasty in Germany. But that is the Oldman, and that will be Goldman Sachs and the rest
Goldman Sachs, yeah. Okay, look, George, I'm frozen.
So have you got cousins in Hollywood?
No, I just was kind of engineered out there, and then I kept resisting. The first time I tried to start a Hollywood career, I was made pregnant by a Sicilian mafia guy connected to the Priory of Zion secret society in Calabria.
Sicily.
Yeah, Calabria and Sicily. Yeah.
Wow.
So I got pregnant, and I decided to put down my. I'd been staying in Beverly Hills with the authors of a magazine called The Village or something. Very wealthy, influential people. They were like, "You can stay here, start the audition circuit. You're welcome." Blah blah blah. But I decided once I had my daughter, I thought, no, I can't do Hollywood with a little baby. You know, that's not going to work. So I laid it down then. And then I went back around 2009-10 with two of my children who are Disney children. And they got swarmed by people like Kiefer Sutherland, David Bowie, Sony Suzuki. Like Hollywood just swarmed around.
Yeah, he's quite political. Have you seen his summer residencies?
No, but they were all messaging me on MySpace and like, "Oh, we can't wait to meet your
So
sons."
he's got massive mansions on Mystique, like
Princess Margaret. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had 2 or 3 lovers at the same time on the same night.
Mystique was like Epstein Island before anybody knew about islands. Mystique was, Epstein Island Mark One. We've got so much to talk.
The sex island?
Yeah, oh, definitely. The orgies. Are you mad? Princess Margaret, and I am kind of fond of her, but because she was second fiddle, a bit like Harry now, she just partied. She just like went off the rails. Yeah.
Photos that have been published by other people that that she's got 2 of the people that are Negroes, and they're all dressed up with turbans and all sorts of, scantily clad, and she's walking with them.
She just went over the edge.
Is the 3 to get in the bed at the same time, and
yeah,
it's been on my website for years and years and years.
And the same with Kate Middleton's uncle in Ibiza. He was another cokehead party animal that just didn't give a damn.
I trained with Kate Middleton's parents
for
my PhD.
Wow.
Some of that got us into Switzerland. Some of it got us into France, and they are absolutely born to be in the monarchy, and that is a deliberate thing.
It's like it's the same way the Rothschilds interbred with Queen Victoria. It's like they will find a way. It's like if you've got the bloodline and I've got the money, we should do business. It's literally that's what happened, isn't it?
Yeah, and where are your family from in Europe?
My father is a Le Poer Power, which hid out as an Irish Catholic Republican poor family, but turned out to be Protestant landowners that were gifted land here back a few centuries ago, and came out of aristocracy and nobility in the UK. My mother was a Dupre French Huguenot, but since 2 of my children have done DNA testing, it may turn out that my mother was a trafficked child and not blood related to her parents. And then I was married to a Disney. And then I've got 3 now living sisters, but even many of my father's siblings were married into bloodline families like Collins and Hutchison and you just different,
Hutchison is close to the president's team on the bloodline trees in America.
Yeah, if you look at the bloodline family book of Fritz Springmeier, there's family names keep cropping up all over the place, which don't make any sense given the alleged background of my family. But they hid a lot of bloodline families in poverty and in obscurity until they could be puppeteered or put into programs.
But I've been aware of that, and Roosevelt he's very close to my hometown. They were born and raised in a town called Selkirk.
Okay.
And that is Roosevelt, and you can still go on and to the cemetery, and there's a little mausoleum for them being so proud, and there's the whole of the profile is on the gates of the cemetery,
Right.
and that is Selkirk. In the battles for the Jacobite wars and Scotland's freedom, they sent, I think it was 800 troops to the battles from Selkirk, or maybe 80, and only one returned.
Oh, okay.
It's and that is it turned out to be the George Bush dynasty.
Wow. Whereabouts in Scotland are you, George?
Right on the border with England, on the River Tweed and Teviot Valley.
Okay. And
that is the Hanoverian kings that became, the kings here in the same time when Mad King George III was in the palaces in London.
yeah, your knowledge of history is mind-blowing. Where did you end up getting your PhD?
I went to Thames Polytechnic in Woolwich,
Okay.
and that is why the Woolwich Terror happened there, because the Middleton family were in the team. Dr. David Beadle died maybe 6 months ago now. He was my supervisor, and he supervised me till I got the PhD.
Wow.
And he was the supervisor for Commoner Kate's parents.
Wow.
In the same university, and to make it a university so David Beadle could become a professor as the leader, they had to change the name of it
From Thames Polytechnic.
It became a university.
Yeah, it wouldn't do to, it wouldn't do to have it.
Give it the award of professor.
What are you laughing? No, because they do that. They upgrade a polytechnic. Like when they couldn't force me to go to Cambridge, I got engineered into going to the University of Warwick. And then all of a sudden, Warwick started getting funding. Like I got approached by a professor. Oh, I just got funding for American literature. Would you come and join my course?
You understand the links to the Freemasons for that?
Oh, well.
That's Tom of Warwick. And right back into the time when King Arthur was in charge of all the dynasties, Tom of Warwick was one of their favourite pupils. And that is right to this very day. And they've got a massive mansion in it. And I can't mind where the last claimant for the title Tom of Warwick was, but that is how they get the aura of greatness around their institutions.
Wow. Look, George, I could talk to you for hours, but I'm frozen out here. I want you to install Zoom and I'll get my heating sorted out in my cabin.
Well, if you can just help me with that, like everybody, like, do you ken Sean Maguire?
Don't even go there. I had him stay in my house for 3 months. It was a disaster, to be honest. So.
All right, he seems to have been stressed since the war started in Europe. I think whether he's running out of money or something.
Listen, Lee said soonest mended. I gave him shelter for 3 months and it didn't end very well. So look, I'll talk to you again. Try and find. I'm not a technical expert. I have somebody helps me about once a week. A wonderful guy, Lithuanian guy, helps me once or twice a week with tech.
Because I'm useless with the technology.
No, I am too, and I'm older than you. Well, am I older than you? I'm 65. How old are you?
I don't want to say.
Well, why not? You're not a famous actress. You can say how old you are. But anyways.
Well, because I'm a professor, I'm well known all over the world.
It doesn't matter.
Trump's kids actually came into my classes at Dunedin University in New Zealand.
Whose kids?
President Trump.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, and he's out of Scotland.
I was talking recently with Gordon from the Outer Hebrides that used to be Gobsmack on Field McConnell's channel, Able Danger.
That's Gordon Bowden.
No, not Gordon Bowden. He's allegedly dead. No,
Yeah.
there's a Scottish guy called Gobsmack. He goes by Gobsmack, but his name is Gordon. And he's from the Outer Hebrides, and he lived in the same village that Trump's aunties lived in. And he ran away from there because he was sick of being abused by the likes of Ted Heath, and you know, there were lots of elite parties in the Outer Hebrides with yachts coming in and children getting sodomized, very, very young children getting sodomized, you know. So he's quite a genius guy. He's lived in London. He ran away to London at 12 to try and tell people about Jimmy Savile and Prince Charles and Ted Heath. And he tried to whistleblow from the age of 12. He went to the BBC aged 12.
That cabinet member that you mentioned near the beginning of the discussion, he used to live right on the north coast of Sutherland. And I can't remember what his name is.
Leon Britton?
You told me that you were a collaborator or a critic of his, and he was in the cabinet for Cameron, but he had a massive mansion and estate like the Queen Mother on the north coast of Scotland.
I'd have to rewind this to see.
Have you seen the Northern Lights up there?
No, no, no. I will never be able to match your life experience and mine, but we have a lot of common ground. But I'm going to go now and sort out my dog and sort out my house, and I'll stay in touch with you. I don't take phone calls spontaneous. I rather do it by appointment. But try and get somebody to put Zoom. Just download this free Zoom app. That's all. Just go on Google and put download Zoom.
Andy Devine to help me.
Yeah,
I've
he's
never
brilliant.
been able to get without actually recording the videos that we make together.
Well, I've recorded this and I'll send you the link, but I want you to ask Andy because he's better than me with Zoom. Just ask him to help you install Zoom so that the next time you and I connect, we can see you on camera and you can share things on camera if you want to.
And how do you find out about those elf families that have a tendency to come from alpine regions?
I'll leave that.
I'll
leave that question for
John does it.
That's the question for part 2. All right, God bless. It's a pleasure to talk to you, George. Professor.
Do you talk to Jim Fetzer?
I have spoken to him once. I did join. He joined me on.
So I believe that he's changed sides and he's gone back to the Germanian side, and that is the Setzers and the Alka-Seltzer that you used to get in the medicine stores and the pharmacies.
Yeah,
Alka-Seltzer. And that is not the Disney's this time,
okay.
But that is the what is the name of the legendary families that are in Austria and under the Alps? It's Trump's in it too. If you look on his bloodline tree. No,
you're going to take me down a rabbit hole. Listen, that's that's it for part 1. Do you want people to be able to get in touch with you? Do you want to give out your website, or would you rather not?
Well, because Nick Clegg's in charge of it, and you get loads.
Well, I'm not on Facebook. This is on YouTube.
If you can just make this available on my website.
No, I'll send it to you, and you put it on your website.
Well,
surely to God.
You see, that's why Andy Devine has been so useful.
He's very good. So I'm just making an appeal right now for Professor George Lee's absolute eccentric maverick genius. If somebody can come alongside him and just do an hour's technical support once a week for him, please.
Yeah, I'll
forward.
Help as much as I can.
It's just technical stuff.
My favorite movie of all time is not actually a movie; it's a cartoon, and it's Walt Disney's Snow White. Someday my prince will come.
I played that. They engineered.
Someday
I'll find my love, and her sing that moment will be.
But I'm so poor now that I haven't even got a mirror on the wall.
When the prince of my dreams comes to me. He
Cheers, darling.
whisper, I love you.
Will you make a recording of what we've said?
Yeah, it's recorded. I'll send it to you. Give me a few hours. I'll send it to you. Couple
God
of days.
bless.
All right, you
All
too.
the best.
Yeah, bye.